Hi, it's Carola. This is a reaction video to 8.6 Game of Thrones, so if you're still going to see that, then don't watch that video yet, because there'll be spoilers. So I just finished watching the last episode and it was a bit emotional. This is me looking how Drogon reacted to Dany's death. I'm impressed how the actors and, well, the content made it possible for people to change their mind about someone, if that's Theon or Dany. But it's so easy to change people's minds. About 2013, someone told me that he was watching this amazing show and I would probably like it. And well, I wasn't so sure, and then I watched the first episode and someone got beheaded and someone got pushed out of a window, so I thought, no, that's not a film for me, and also there were zombies. But then, whenever I said how much I liked the War of the Roses and the intrigues and the English history, someone would reply with, "Have you watched Game of Thrones?" So after 5 years, so after the 5th season, I cracked. I at least wanted to know what it is, but I also know that it would be super bloody, and I really don't like shows with a lot of blood and, yeah, beheadings. So what I did was watching every YouTube video made about the show, the 10 major deaths or the summaries, so I would know what I would get into. And then I watched the first episode again, and this time I liked it. And then I pretty much watched the first season in 2 days. Had to buy the next one, and that was still on DVD, not via Amazon, so I had to wait for it to be delivered. And then I realized that I could buy the episodes on Amazon directly. And I spent the next 2 or 3 weeks just watching all the episodes, binge watching. I sometimes fast forwarded, especially things with Theon and Ramsay. But overall, I watched it and I liked it and I got hooked. I started to learn Dothraki. Achumachumakia ze okiosi ma ifaki. Hashtiri Dothraki Anna Carola. Only to find out that in season 6 and 7 it wasn't used much. And then in 8, after the long night, I thought, okay, last Dothraki has died, so now it'd be of no use. So I was pretty happy that there was a speech in Dothraki in the very last episode. I must say, I didn't know all the words, so without subtitles I probably could not have followed, but I knew a lot of the verbs she was using, and yeah, I got the general gist of it. So that was fun. Well, out of my favorite figures, Dany didn't make it, but I mean that was to be expected after the 5th episode, and all the rest made it. Bronn, Tyrion, even Arya. I never would have thought Arya would make it. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I liked about the show that I could see some things that happened in the show as happening to English history. I liked how Dany would be a little bit like Henry VII, because his symbol is a flag with dragons, and well, she as well has a flag of dragons and growing up in a different country. So I thought the story arcs would be about the same, and of course I thought she would win in the end, but she didn't. Then, and at some point I thought Jon could be like Richard III, because Richard III also took the throne when there was new evidence about, well, family history. So in that case, that his brother was illegitimate because his mom had an affair, and so he would be able to take the throne. But in the end he didn't take the throne, so no, that didn't work out either. And I'm very happy that the way that Olenna died was not like the Duchess of Salisbury died, because it took 7 blows with the axe to behead her, and that lady was 68. So I had assumed there could be similarities, but then in the end the show was pretty tame. On the 19th of May 1536, Anne Boleyn was beheaded, and that's also the day when Game of Thrones ended in America. It doesn't really work for France because for us it was on the 20th, but still. So in the Tudors, Anne Boleyn was played by Natalie Dormer, and in Game of Thrones Natalie Dormer had another role, even though she is already dead long before the final season. Her role is certainly not the same as in the Tudors. I see similarities with Margaret of Anjou, who was the wife of Henry VI in England, and Cersei Lannister, because she was taking over the role to rule in place of her husband, and she was more feared than liked. Margaret of Anjou had a son called Edward, and he was known for being quite sadistic, even though he died at 17 or 18. So there's a parallel to Joffrey as well. In Versailles there was an exhibition about visitors to Versailles, and one of them looked like Charles Danes, so Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. So what did I think of the ending? While I was expecting Sansa to win the throne somehow, I think Ned Stark can be proud of his children. I love it every time there's a parallel to an earlier season. For example, Ned doing something to save Sansa, and then Jon doing something to save Sansa. And now it's over. And unlike the other fantasy fans, I don't have anything to replace it with, because I didn't watch it for the fantasy. Certainly didn't watch it for the dragons or the zombies or the White Walkers or anybody. I watched it for the story, so we'll see. See you next time. Bye.